Hello everyone. Hope you're well. Hope everybody's doing good. I've been going down the Dead Space like rabbit hole. I finished Kronos Dawn a couple of weeks ago and it caused me to go play Dead Space 2 as it's been a long time and that game's amazing. What the fuck is going on? No. What is happening? Is there music playing? Is that from him? And then go to the opposite of that and play Callisto Protocol and really look back on like, oh, was this game really that bad? It was that bad. It was that bad. I did not finish the game this time, okay? And I ran into some annoying bugs. Okay. Pull it, bro. What the fuck? Why am I not being able to move this? Is there something wrong? What in the fuck is going on? Follow the red pipe. So the red pipe goes this way. So I need to move it. Oh, dude, what the fuck? What the fuck? What? What is it? Get me the fuck out. Oh my god. What in the fuck is that? All this is really stem the question. And it kind of comes from, why haven't we got a spiritual successor to Dead Space that's actually good? So you got the guy that never shuts up about how he worked on Dead Space. And you got a pretty decent sized budget, $160 million. That's way more than decent. That game comes out and absolutely bombs. Studio killed, the guy left it, it's rushed. The gameplay felt wonky and it turned into a damn beat 'em up. Who can be the next step forward? Because I don't know if we're gonna even get Dead Space 4, which probably won't happen, or even gonna get remakes of 2. That's all I want. You don't have to do 3. We don't have to see much more. If I get the Dead Space 2 remake, I would be happy. So let's get into why and let's talk about this topic. Looking back on Dead Space in 2008, it was really just lightning in the bottle. 2008, EA was putting out some stuff. Mercenaries 2 came out that year. Army 2, and most importantly, Mirror's Edge. Falling in that trend comes Dead Space. Whenever it came out, it was a week before Far Cry 2. I was supposed to get Far Cry 2 as I asked my mother to go to GameStop and pick it up for me. She calls me and she's like, we don't have it, or they don't have it. So I'm like, yeah, just give me Dead Space 1. All I saw was the cover and I read the Game Informer article because I'm pretty sure there was an article. I think it was on the cover. I need to be sure and look that up. But I thought, yeah, I'll do that. Even though I'm not a huge survival horror kind of guy. And Resident Evil 4, granny chainsaws in the opening section where you're got the shotgun held up in the house in the back room scares me to death. So yeah, let's try Dead Space 1. Looking back, it was an amazing decision. I'm so glad that I actually picked that up instead of Far Cry 2. Far Cry 2 is cool, but it ain't Dead Space 1. I'm super happy that my mother went the week before, so I got to play Dead Space 1 all the way back in 2008. Now, the franchise gave some life throughout the years. We got 2, 3, Extraction. We got some comics, I think. The franchise grew over time, but you also saw it was declining as well, especially with the sales of even Dead Space 2 and the sales of especially Dead Space 3. So we didn't hear anything about for a while, and lo and behold, Glenn Schofield, the guy who actually worked on it, comes up and says, hey man, I really want to work on a Dead Space like again. I'm like, okay, that's cool. This guy has knowledge of it. Little did we know what we were actually in store for with Callisto Protocol. Callisto Protocol had a huge budget. It looks cool. It looks very similar, heavy inspired. I think in the trailer you can even see that it had paid homage, and it pays homage to the game in many ways to the point where it's like, okay, calm down. But this is really one of the most interesting games that has came out in the last couple of years. It played the part. You have alien monster enemies and you're in a dark environment like the prison and you're facing an outbreak, and in the story they're similar to like cult like activities. Very on the nose, very similar. Little did we know it was going to turn into a beat 'em up with a weird little dodge mechanic that if you need to dodge right, if you press right, it'll send you left. Okay, bro. And the guns on the game are absolutely forgettable. And the game is so linear due to the engine and just how pretty the game was that it makes it feel like one of the most closed, tight spaces type of games. Play this one time, you'll never want to play it again, ever made, in my opinion, and it felt more evident through the second playthrough. I'm not sitting here saying the game was absolutely horrible, the worst thing I've ever played in my life, but it was one of the biggest disappointments, maybe besides Back 4 Blood, that I played in recent years. Not to mention there was a DLC for the game, a paid DLC, mind you, that shared the true ending. Now, I won't lie to you. If Callisto Protocol 2 was announced, I'm gonna play it. I'm not gonna be the one that's not gonna miss if this thing's an absolute train wreck or they could redeem themselves. Too bad that's never gonna happen. If that ever happens, I will make a bet regarding my life. You hear it now, you hear it forever, okay? Document it, put it in your little cupboard, and save it for later. If Callisto Protocol 2 ever happened, we might have to talk. Ain't no way he's gonna get a $160 million budget ever again, so he can light up some faces and put a bunch of pipes in all these different sections and put little words on the digital screen and stuff. So detailed environment, I guess that's where the money meant. And those faces, whenever they put those masks on in the game and their faces are lit up and they're talking, yeah, $160 million, baby. So yeah, that's enough about Callisto Protocol. I can talk random junk about it all day long. Kronos the New Dawn is a newer iteration from Bloober Team, who worked on Silent Hill 2 remake, which was pretty hot last year, pretty hot. A lot of people really liked it. Kronos New Dawn is a very heavy story game and a very heavy environment game. This is no frills, no laughing matter. Shit's depressing. You're fucked. These people are fucked. This story, if you don't fix it, is fucked. Was almost so heavy to a point where I felt like I had to stop playing in some sections. Whether that is good or bad is up to you, but I'll just have to take a bit of a break because it felt so oppressive at times. So I have a lot of good to say about Kronos New Dawn, but why wouldn't it fall into the spiritual successor? Maybe a sequel could, but not right now. The guns are super forgettable as compared to Dead Space's mining tools that are so unforgettable. Contact beam, Ripper, nail gun, pulse rifle. Let's keep it going. Keep it going. What a banger set of weapons at Dead Space, and it can't be replicated. Truly can't, especially not in Kronos New Dawn. I would argue that the 3D printed guns from Callisto Protocol are better than Kronos New Dawn's extremely forgettable weapons. And depending on you and how you look at the story, it's very tightly woven. You really need to be riding the train, follow along with what's going on, or you can very much well get lost in Kronos New Dawn's story. Time traveling with rifts are involved. Coalitions that are sending out agents to go collect essences of the past to change the future are going on. And at times it can really get confusing. It's starting out slow. You have a protagonist that is arguably more shallow than Isaac, and it leaves a lot for you to really look up afterwards and probably learn. But I feel like with this, it's a nice segue into a second game because the universe, like I said, is very interesting. So if there is a sequel to Kronos New Dawn, I feel like if they can hone in on some of it, we can see a true successor, which I hope, because this is one of the weirdest things in the world that no one has really came in and swooped for this niche. But in general, I think the horror trend has shifted over the years. It seems there's more of a focus on psychological, hyper realistic PT style almost. A huge surge in the retro lo-fi games that seem to do good and well on the internet and also sell pretty decently because they're not that much to make. So I truly don't know if we could go back to the old style that was pretty prevalent in 2008 and during the early 2010s. And it's really just the fact Dead Space on its own island with dismemberment combat almost feels like a puzzle, and each gunfight is so invigorating because you have to figure out, let me take off the arms, let me take off the leg, let me go straight for the head. Oh my fucking god, you don't understand how While I feel like Kronos New Dawn did a great job on its immersion, nothing can probably beat Dead Space's setup through the way Isaac maneuvered the world, through the way he brought up calls and audio logs, brought his inventory up. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Damn near perfect. And just the iconic setting of the USG Ishimura. Such a great place to build a story in. Every turn, you never know what's going to come next. You never know if someone's going to snatch you up, something's going to blow up. You're going to get attacked by a fleet of babies. Oh, fashion kit. Fashion kid. Fashion kid. I mean, we've had the guy that literally did so much apparently for Dead Space come in and he failed. So what's next? Are we never gonna get the sci-fi survival horror? If you make that type of game, everyone will know if it's inspired by Dead Space. It's very evident when a game is inspired by Dead Space. So I hope over the next couple of years, maybe some indie devs will come along. You never know what time, when it can happen. Look at Liza P, the greatest Bloodborne-like ever made, arguably the greatest Souls-like, in my opinion. Thank you guys for listening to me rant about this. Let me know what you think about these games. Let me know what you think about the series. Do you actually care about Dead Space? If you're watching it, you probably do, right?
Contact with this.
Watch out. Watch out. Watch out.
It made you
Watch out.
things you didn't want to see.
Oh no.
It spoke to me. What did it say?
No. Oh my god, watch out, watch out.
Isaac, can you hear me?
Watch out, dude.